Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. Before I get to the precise subject of the amendment, I guess it's related, I kind of have to laugh when I hear about the group that's behind all this stuff. Citizens for Lawsuit Reform. God, that sounds great. All those employers behind the group. Sounds pretty formidable. But what we've talked about in Civil Law Committee a lot is the fact that it's only some lawsuits that they want to reform, not all. And because this is an insurance-backed group, and Mr. Johnson's laughing and clucking outside the door here at the bill that he's put together, and he's found a fine author to do his bidding, what's really going on here is that it's only some lawsuits that they want to reform. Just some, not all. And the kind that they want to reform and make harder to pursue are lawsuits by individuals. When it comes to lawsuits by businesses, typically against other businesses, they don't have any problem whatever. And I've handed out on the floor examples of hometown companies that have won big awards in lawsuits. They don't have a problem with that, and neither do I, in part because it's what I do for a living. I work at a law firm, and I represent mostly businesses in litigation with other businesses. So here's one you might see in the handout, which is Murdoch firm to pay Insignia $125 million from the Star Tribune, Thursday, February 10th. That's not one of the lawsuits that the insurance groups who are behind this effort want to reform. These are just fine, and they're fine with me too. We should all cheer that a local company scored a big victory over a Murdoch firm. So Insignia just rung the bell for $125 million. I have no idea about the merits of the suit, but I have to assume, them being a hometown company, the merits were on their side, and the jury found that to be true. So they won $125 million. You never see those headlines, though, in the packets handed out by Citizens for Lawsuit Reform. Similarly, I handed out an article, and I'm sitting next to Representative Green here, who works for St. Jude Medical. You'll see here St. Jude wins $2.3 billion in a trade secret suit. Those kind of lawsuits aren't on the list of Minnesotans for lawsuit reform either. So when it's businesses suing businesses, that's just fine. But when it's individuals, your constituents who are suing businesses, that suddenly is frivolous, and those are the things we ought to make even harder than it already is. Even harder. So when you hear lawsuit reform, members, I just hope you realize that it's not all lawsuits, it's only some, and it's the one that your constituents choose to bring. So while the insurance industry is happy to pass this along as reform, let's understand what this is really all about. It's about limiting their exposure for only certain kinds of lawsuits.